Would you say that your party could have possibly engineered this shift? Especially considering that it's giving you more time and you also seeming to be benefiting from the leverage it's given.
From what is on the ground, from what you and I read about every day, the progress of INEC. INEC was not ready for this election. It's not an issue of whether it favors APC or PDP. It's a question of the fact that what is right to do in Nigeria. You know, this is our country. If you have 42% distribution in Lagos and 65% nationally,
so
people are saying...
Did you people decide for INEC then, that INEC, look, from what we see, you are not ready, so, you know, this is what we think you should do?
Well, I don't think that anybody gives that kind of instruction to Jega since he's been appointed. And I think the president that I know, as far as I'm concerned, he sold totally on free and fair election. It's going to be one of his greatest legacies.
If you look at the Senate, I mean, I've heard people say that, look, I made up my mind on who to vote, and that's how it's going to be. I don't know how many undecided voters are still out there. This extension now that there is, do you think it will change anything in terms of those who will go out there and vote?
I think we are all, at least with educated people, there should be no reason for fixation of attitude. You see, you look at new information, you look at new facts.
There should be no reason?
There should be no reason for
people.
Now you now say, oh.
People are passionate about their candidates.
But that passion is predicated on some issues. Maybe some of them were negative propaganda, some could be true, but a whole lot of what we're hearing in the papers, they are not in position. I know, I've seen things, I've seen improvement, even in the body language of Mr. President. He has grown significantly. And what Nigeria is looking for is somebody who is experienced, who has a hands-on, and who will continue what is building. For us, we have moved from 3,000 megawatts to about 5,000 something. Now the next
generation or capacity?
Generation. In terms of capacity, it's more
I thought
about...
they said it was generation capacity, not actual generation.
No. It cannot be the generation capacity. If it's a question of generation capacity, then you can look at the Kangi Dam and still upgrade some of those things. And the capacity is there. All you need to do is build and make sure that they continue
to... Richard,
yes.
Yeah, you've talked about how the postponement has given room for better preparations.
For other parties.
But have you also looked at the cost of that postponement?
Oh, the cost is evenly distributed. As it affects A, it affects B. Now, those who are doing adverts, they will continue to run their adverts. It's not a question of if... I was very livid with anger when my election was postponed because it was like I had to reinvent the wheel again. So this might be the reason. People are no longer logical. But the logic here makes a lot of sense. Everybody in this country will attest to the fact that there has been significant improvement. Almost 7 million cards, PVCs, have been given since
I do agree with you, but yeah. I'll take you back again. On the front page of the Vanguard, we read one of the headlines there. Economy hit hard by $22.1 billion outflow in 5 weeks. Now you might say that, okay, the elections were not postponed, as in it wasn't 5 weeks since the elections were postponed, but that also added up to it. Plus the fact that investors are uncertain about the environment, the political environment. They are not uncertain about what's going to happen next. They are uncertain about the elections holding. Yes, the president has consistently said the elections will hold on the new date. But when I asked about the impact, the economic impact, the social impact. I mean, our reporters went around and reported that, hey, the amount of people that come out to collect their permanent voters card has dropped. Abuja, for instance, where they used to distribute about 1,000 or thereabout per day, it dropped to less than 200. And you say you've looked at the impact?
Well, let me first of all look at the question of the outflow of money. Now, it's not because of the postponement. It is because of the apprehension, because of the hype, the propaganda. People saying this will happen, that will happen if this does not win, if that does not win. You know, when you begin to hear songs of war, you know, and some people are not really too comfortable. And those ones are the ones moving their investments outside. These investments will still come back. It's a temporary thing. It's a question of the fact, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. Because, hey, we have two major parties and two major candidates. One is just finishing his first term, and this economy continue to grow under him. This economy, as far as I'm concerned, the policies, those guys, the eggheads working with Mr. President, the likes of Akadeshina, Aganga, all these guys.
Let me even jump in because
yes,
you were chairman, House Committee on Privatization.
Senate Committee on
I beg your pardon, Senate Committee on Privatization.
Yes.
This power sector has been privatized now.
Yes.
And then we see complaints almost in every part, complaining about the discos generation. They say, look, we don't have this electricity. But the discos in turn say, look, it's not our fault. There's a challenge from the onset. We're generating about 4,000 megawatts, and how do we distribute all of those? So do you think that situation, coupled with the current economic situation, where we see in some of the papers, economy hit hard by $22.1 billion outflow in 5 weeks, do you think all this will help your party ahead of the elections?
Oh, well, invariably when you hear news like this, that's 22 billion outflow, it cannot be said that it's just those people moving their money out. Some people are buying equipment. Some are still confident about the economy. Those ones running the discos, the generations, many of them, they're paying for
uncertainty.
machinery.
Capital is
And
fleeing because it's threatened.
we're paying for importation of military hardware and all those things. So invariably, these things, the president has promised that he will see to the end of Boko Haram. This just costs money. And so, yes, in aggregate, you can look at it and come out with the statistics. Statistics can be used in any way you want to use it. It can be negative, it can be positive. But if there are facts, some of the factors responsible, the ones I just mentioned, people moving because of the fact that, hey, they feel uncertainty in the air because of this election. And if you look at the past, every time we're changing government, you will see, it might not be at this magnitude, you will see that trend. Now, if you look at the discos and the gencos and all that, a number of people went into this business. It's a very, very capital-intensive business. And many of them were projecting that they will start making money, maybe 6 months or in 1 year, or some maybe 2. Now, but suddenly, they see the pressure. And the pressure is that most of them borrowed money from this economy, and at the interest rate that people give, that the banks give money out in this country, it is almost impossible for you to invest in a long-term venture and expect that you will not feel the pressure. Now, the best that the government can do, I believe the CBN intervened on this power sector.
But even before that, many say, look, this situation will cost your party votes.
Without, well, I don't know how many people, all the people voting want to see, they want to see electricity. They're interested in the electricity. They are not interested in who is the owner of that electricity company. And the fact that you went into this business as an investor, all of a sudden, you did not consider that you needed a moratorium and that you need to have this business or this loan spread for about 20, 25 years. And you went ahead to go and take a loan of 3 years or 5 years. And the interest is piling up. And you have to start paying back immediately. These are some of the business decisions that you don't have to teach investors. It is a given. They have consultants doing all this stuff.
But you know,
so if
people will blame it on your party.
Why would they blame it? Would they blame it on the party because the president decided to privatize the power sector, which has been the yearning of Nigerians for years?
If someone in his house doesn't have electricity for a longer period than he expects, and we're in an election year, you don't think they will react angrily with their votes?
That is true. It's possible. But when you now look at it, where was I? Although people forget the past so quickly. But if we look at where we were 34 years ago and where we are now, there is every attempt for those working in this PDP government to justify their positions.
Senator Richard,
Yes.
we're almost out of time, but a very quick one. You're from Ekiti State.
Yes.
I've heard you talk about the fact that everybody needs to maintain the peace as much as possible. So how do you react to statements credited to the governor of your state that are allegedly heating up the polity?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, the governor is on his own. I have no discussions with him, so I mean, he's a Nigerian, and whatever he says should just be put at his own doorstep. It's not a party position, and it's not the thinking of most PDP people. That is his own position. So I don't have any, whatever he thinks he wants to say, he's a free man. And, but do I agree with him? I would say no.
Are you happy with the development in the State House of Assembly in Ekiti?
It's an embarrassment to the country. So it shouldn't be happening. I thought by now that should have been resolved for these people to go back to their business.
All right. Senator Ayo Arise is the former chairman, Senate Committee on Privatisation. Thank you very much indeed for coming on this morning.
It's my pleasure.
Well, we'll flip over for the headline news, and Waldo is standing by with another look at that.